And I'd ask you to do the same again for Mary, please. Thank you.
Right. So I'm going to talk about the power of small actions. I'm going to tell you an incredible story. Believe it or not, it's up to you. I don't really care. It's about the town where I live. It's a tiny town, a beautiful town. It's equidistant between Halifax, Burnley and Rochdale. And you can buy a house, 2 bedrooms, for 50 grand if you want a cheap one. So that says it all if you're smart and can do sums. So in 2008, can you remember what happened? It was when the world woke up to that some bankers have got a W in their name and everything went to shit. Do you remember that? 2008. Everything started to collapse. Everything we'd been brought up to believe about the state, about money, about power, about America, just all went in a mess. So in our town, there were 2 organizations, big community organizations, employed a lot of people. Just like every other small town in England, they went under. And the weird thing was not that they went under in a global recession, was that nobody said a word about it. So a group of us came together and thought, what can we do to ensure our safety? At that time, it wasn't a trumped up, screwed up, made up world with despots and Putins. It was just a banking crisis. So a group of us came together and we thought, we're going to do something to protect our future in our town, in our community, not just for ourselves, but for our children's children, because the world has changed so very much. And we thought, human instinct is to have a great idea and then build an empire. And we didn't want any empires. We wanted to use the skills of the community, because in any community it's filled with, as long as you've got, it's not the land of the living dead, it's full of people with skills, and we would use the wealth that we all possess, because it doesn't matter what the price of houses is. There's wealth, there's skills, there's all sorts of stuff. So we decided, what can we do? We'll do something really simple. We'll grow food in public places to reconnect with the environment, the birds, the bees, the world, the global issues, the seasons, all that stuff. And we'll clear up shitty, horrible places, make them beautiful. We'll plant orchards, we'll do all sorts of stuff. So twice a month, we all meet to garden the town, pick up all the litter, do all that stuff. Then we all eat together. And it really provides that feeling that you're part of community. So we've got a really diverse group of people, from TV executives, head of Ofsted, to people with severe alcohol and addiction problems. And I just have this slide because it was below 60 on minus on the 7th of January. And I thought, great, we'll lie in bed. But no, a whole pile of people, 35 people, turned up. So it's not about gardening, it's about community. So this is our thing. We like naughty but nice because we're cracking on. We say health and safety has been a great thing to hide behind if you don't want to do actions. We believe in actions, not words. We don't believe in running around, grovelling, asking for permission. The police station has a really sunny south aspect, and we thought we'll have a garden, so we did. So this is our best slide this year. So we're now into benches. We're into putting in benches in the public realm, because Blair started it. The Tories have continued with the removal of benches, because guess what? People gather. Kids sit on them, old people sit on them, so remove all benches. So we're putting our own benches in wherever we feel like it. And we're putting one in there, and a policeman passed by. We said, oh, give us a hand carrying the bench, mate. So you've got to forgive us for looking smug. Look, even the kids are looking smug, because we thought, there's our permission for those benches. The police helped to do it, Your Honour. Anyway, Todmorden had a serial killer, Mr. Shipman. That's what it was famous for. He started his killing career there. So the government have rewarded the town with 3 health centres. This is the 3rd. And we've removed all the architects' prickly poisonous trees and surrounded it with orchards. Why wouldn't you? When he came, he said, Mary, when I'm king, take all my land. So I said, oh, great, we will. We'll remember that. But here's the best thing of all when we talk about survival. We're totally self-sufficient. We've got no office, no staff, there's nothing whatsoever. We are self-sufficient on vegetable tourism. So people come from all over the world, all the year round, look, there's not a leaf on the trees, to look at vegetables growing in a small town, which is very weird. And we also earn money by, I'm only here for the money because they're going to pay me, and all the money goes back into our group. So not only are we self-sufficient, we have a rule never to take public money. So no matter what we wanted, we'll wait till someone gives it to us or we earn our own money. And even better, our application form says for a speaker, if you've got money, pay. If you don't want to, we might do it anyway. So that's how it all works. It's pretty easy. This is our vegetable tourism map. They're available at the railway station. It's not just veg. If we feel like making straw people, we do. And we love Bling because it gives legitimacy. So for 200 years, this horse tunnel's never had a handle. And we thought, well, we'll screw a rope up. It's taken 200 years. Get the mayor to cut a piece of tacky ribbon. Bob's your uncle. I want to say none, and we do this because we don't want to be victims in this trumped up, made up world. So when you're town, all our notice boards look like this because it's austerity. So we just measured them all up and got an artist and remade all our signs. So we say, don't be a victim in your own town, be an activist. And if you can't dig and garden, knit bollard covers, that's what. Just because you can. Be your own landscaper, be your own maker of dreams. The prisons are full. You know, I've got 12 grandchildren. There's no room for me in prison. I'd like a stretch. It would be nice. I would make a garden. But they're full. So you can just do as you please in your own town. Spread the word. And is all we're using as our absolute powerhouse is kindness. Because people have power. They have a huge amount of power. And they're just cut through with kindness. This is our biggest influence, are iPads. So we haven't got an office, but 3 of us have got iPads. And we've managed for the last 10 years just using those. So what we're doing is growing. This is other incredible edible movements across the world. Africa, New Zealand, Japan, China. So it's a kind of global movement that just started with a bunch of people wanting to make a difference in a tiny Yorkshire town. The joy of small things, I think we got this last week, which is just to show us another little project in Japan, which is lovely. And we really, we're not interested whether people believe us or we haven't got any cards or methodology for anybody. We've seen with our own eyes the power of small actions, and that's the only thing we can say. It's nothing fancy or clever, but just in case there is a clever clog in the audience, these guys, who are supposed to be clever clogs, did a whole load of research, and in case you think I'm bullshitting, just read their research. There you go. And that's it. I think, yes, there you go.
Thank you so much.
What was the timing like?
That was really quick. That was great.
Great.
Perfect. Thank you. I'm going to sort of delve into one key point which really surprised me actually, and ask you to expand a little bit. You said you don't take public money.
No.
What's the thinking behind that?
Because then we would be accountable. There would be rules. If you take money, so many people chase government money and they make up their project to fit what the budget is.
Absolutely, yeah.
So we've got total freedom to have art, to have vegetables, to have kindness, to do whatever we like.
That's so interesting, because most organisations in this space are completely donor-driven, and they jump to the tune of whichever way the wind is blowing this week from the donors. Yeah. So you've decided for autonomy, basically, and cut yourself off from that.
And it's so much fun.
I can see. And this is the other thing I wanted to ask you. It looks fantastic. I imagine it's a huge amount of work to coordinate communities like that. And somebody like you that has all the energy in the world, it might come as second nature.
In the beginning, it was a huge thing, but the whole town, so there's all sorts of stuff happening. Vice Australia are coming in 2 weeks to explore where's a fantastic place outside of London in the UK. All of a sudden, we've got music venues and beautiful restaurants and art festivals. So over time, everyone becomes that little naughty but nice thing. They think if they can get away with it, we can do something. So it's just spreading.
Okay, so it's a point attractor, but people gravitate towards it and then take it back with them. But how do you get it started? Where does the impetus come from? Okay.
And keep making sure there's always the problem person, there's always the person who likes to talk and talk and talk. Forget reams of paper and just crack on. That feeling of working together as a team and, I don't know, changing all the signs in the town. It's something else.
I get this overwhelming sense of sort of guerrilla naughtiness from you. It seems like it. I'm going to go out and try more, I think. You've been very clear that you don't like structure and sort of formality, but I caught whiffs of a little bit of sort of mechanics in there. For instance, you said you meet twice a week and then you eat afterwards, twice a month. And
over time, we started to be kind of abstract all over the place, but over time, somebody here told me actually, we've learned millions of mistakes and we love it. So we've learned over the years what people like. Humans are hardwired. They like good coffee, lots of cake, fun, and they like rhythm. So we thought the Christians did well with Sunday. So we use Sundays. All those people who don't go to church.
is there a pack? Is there a kit that people...
We've got a fantastic website, and we've got a fantastic Facebook page, and all of that stuff, all done by our web mistress, who's 73, taught herself all that stuff, and just does it all day long.
It's fantastic and absolutely infectious as well. Thank you for the way you presented it too. Panellists, have you ever had a taste of this kind of way of being in communities?
I think so, a little bit. So I kind of help run a thing called the Guild of Entrepreneurs here in York, and that's been really lovely. Like, we've never taken money from anyone, and it really came from like people kind of having a joint vision for something. So that's been quite empowering, almost, knowing you don't need money, you can just have an idea and do it.
Yep.
And in London, I was trustee of a community charity that had grown up, and actually very interesting what you were saying, because it was good people with good ideas creating projects to fit whatever money was available that year, because you need, and actually it was that was the exact problem, and that's one of the reasons why I found it not as inspiring as it could have been, and certainly not as inspiring as what you were doing. That was actually my experience. So that was interesting.
Yeah.
I think the hard thing is, I mean, I grew up in Wales, so the first thing I wanted to do was get away from community and head down the M4. So I find this very inspiring, but alien, I think, to a more London life where you have local issues, dogs and vomit in the park, people shooting up, let's deal with that. But then communities of interest where people self-organise and get together. So it's actually nice to, hear, I mean, two things, the takeaway. One was, the power of vegetables to change the world, and the second one is the maxim, the prisons are full, so I can probably get away with it, which I'm definitely going to try out soon.
I think the biggest takeaway for me is this slogan that was popular a few years ago, think global, act local, has actually done us a tremendous amount of harm because those local actions don't propagate out. What's lovely about this is that slide where you say this is happening in China and Japan and all across the world.
We're really shocked by that. Every day I open my email from emails all over the world, and we're never set out to be anything but a thing in our own town. But there you go. So.
I mean, that authenticity is critical. I'll touch on that a bit later, but it was also interesting what you said about Amazon. And, if we took a straw poll here, I'm sure everyone's an Amazon Prime member. And, before we've even thought of the product, we've already bought it under our thumbs, despite the impact on employment of, Amazon Now and below minimum wage, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that ethical aspect of don't just do the projects, but you make choices in your purchasing, your association, the way you organise. I think that's something that's fundamental to the next few generations and how they're going to live out their lives.
Thank you. And Mary, thank you. This has been fantastic. Round of applause, please.